Hi folks, I'm Dan Dworkis, and this is the Emergency Mind Project. In this series of Critical Concepts videos, we're going to be looking at 3 key structures that teams use to perform in times of crisis and emergency. Understanding how to use these structures, understanding their strengths and weaknesses, is going to be really key for applying knowledge under pressure across any type of an organization you're working with. So let's jump in right here to SMASH teams, right? So SMASH teams, you have 2 teams. These are teams that are whole teams operating in their own environments, and to solve a problem, they're going to try to come together and solve it by, of course, smashing together, right? They're going to combine their forces to tackle this problem. After the problem is over, they're typically going to dissolve and go back into their own universes. So for a while, they form this really high potential, high interest boundary between them where they try to work together to solve this problem. Okay, in medicine, you see SMASH teams in things like a trauma team activation, right? So this is the scene after a particularly hard trauma in one of our emergency departments. And to solve really challenging problems like this, we often take 2 teams, the emergency medicine team and the trauma surgery team, and we ask them to come together in one room to solve the problem for one patient at a point in time, right? So we're taking 2 teams that exist separately, they're off doing their own things, we're smashing them together to try to solve this problem set. Afterwards, they go back to their own universes. Now, if you've ever been in one of these rooms, you understand this is a lot easier said than done, right? This high potential boundary, this interface between the 2 teams is where all of the magic and also all of the chaos and risk happens when you're operating a SMASH team. These teams, the yellow team and the blue team in this case, or an emergency team and a trauma team, these teams have their own identities. They have their own rituals, their own styles of communication, their own hierarchy, their own ways of operating in the world. And you're asking them to do something that's together that probably isn't the same, right? It's pretty rare for 2 teams to have exactly equal ways of operating and equal hierarchies. Nevertheless, they have to come together and they have to figure out how to work together in this moment in time under pressure and with high impact. So there's a lot of challenge that goes on there. The strength of this type of a team is that if you do it correctly, you get a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario. You get incredible synergy. Each team is able to bring the best of what they have to bear together, and in combining these best-in-class operations, you're able to produce something that neither team could accomplish by themselves, right? And you see that when you run a really successful trauma, right? You see the teams communicating well, they're operating well, they're sharing their relative knowledge sets, and they're able to lever off each other and produce this positive synergy. The weakness of a SMASH team is that, well, when it doesn't go right, it can go really, really wrong. And so you can end up in a scenario where not only does 1 + 1 not equal 3, but in fact, 1 + 1 equals something like 0.5 or even like -6, right? You have teams that have incredible amounts of friction when they work together, right? These are groups that are just getting in each other's way. They're arguing with each other. They're spending more time trying to negotiate the boundary between them than they are actually solving the problem. And as a result, they would have probably been better off only operating with one team at a time and not trying to combine forces. So what do we do? How do we set this up? Well, when we go back to the prepare, perform, recover, and evolve cycle, right? When we're thinking about SMASH teams, we're really talking about teams that exist at the moment of performance. So some of the challenge for how we use SMASH teams is how we set up, how we prepare for that team to smash together, how we recover from it, talk to each other afterwards, and ultimately how we evolve as individual teams, and then hopefully as a shared identity as a SMASH team. So speaking of challenge, right, how do you use this information? How do you think about SMASH teams and get better going forward? Well, the question is, how can you prepare the interface, right? SMASH team success is all about preparation. What do you do right now in your individual team to set yourself up to be part of a SMASH team? How do you practice? How do you get ready to perform in that SMASH team environment? Then outside of your team, how do you negotiate what this boundary is going to be like? In other words, you're trying to set up a handshake between 2 really sophisticated teams here. You have to make sure that you're both shaking hands in the right way. Probably this involves things like talking to the other team you might be smashing with and setting some ground rules for how that smash is going to look like, right? What are you going to say to each other? Who's going to be in charge in what circumstances? How can you negotiate as much as possible ahead of time what that boundary is going to look like to make sure you're in one of those 1 + 1 = 3 scenarios? All right, that's SMASH teams. The other videos in this series are going to talk about intact teams and swarm teams. Now, if you want to get more involved with the Emergency Mind Project community, we would love to have you. There are so many ways to become part of the team. the easiest thing to do is to head to emergencymind.com, go into the upper right there and take that crisis skills test. It's fun, it's free, and it's a great way to get started. All right, I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed. Good luck out there.